Iran's Gulf neighbors report a new wave of strikes after the Iranian president apologized. Kuwait says it's fending off drone and missile attacks that set fire to a fuel storage facility as well as a high-rise government building. Bahrain's Interior Ministry says falling missile fragments wounded 3 people and damaged a university building. We're also getting reports of attacks in Saudi Arabia and the UAE, where a Pakistani national was killed by missile debris, according to Pakistan's embassy. We're following this story from all across the Middle East. Paula Hancock is live for us from Dubai. Paula, just a bit over 24 hours ago, Iran's president said Tehran would stop targeting Gulf nations, yet Iranian missiles and drones continue striking across the region. What are officials there saying about this escalating threat?
Well, Linda, we have been seeing here in the UAE for a couple of hours ago, there were emergency alerts and interception overhead. 3 hours ago in Abu Dhabi, a similar situation. And what we have seen on Saturday night was one more person being killed here in the UAE, someone who was in a car and was hit by debris from one of the interceptions. We did hear a number of interceptions on Saturday night in both cities. So certainly what we are seeing on the ground since that statement by the Iranian president does not mirror what he said at all. And now it could suggest that the president does not have control over those people who were firing the missiles and the drones, that the president does not speak for the IRGC. This is something we know to be a fact. He did say that was a decision from the 3-member leadership council, but clearly this message is not either trickling down or it is simply not a message that they endorse. We have heard other statements saying that US military targets across the Gulf region are still very much targets, but of course we're seeing across the Gulf it's far more than just military that is being targeted at this point. Now, we did also see a very rare appearance from the UAE leader, Mohammed bin Zayed, as he was visiting some of those in the UAE who have been injured in Iran's retaliation. And he called Iran, referred to Iran as the enemy. Now, this is a remarkable statement from the UAE leader, also saying that Iran should not see the response from the UAE as weakness. The UAE is strong. We're hearing from leaders across the Gulf that they reserve the right for retaliation. They're obviously not being public about what that might look like or whether there have been any change to their situations on the ground, certainly not wanting to make themselves even more of a target for Iran. But quite frankly, the UAE has been targeted more than any other country in the Gulf nation, potentially more than Israel itself when it comes to this retaliation. We've also heard that the Qatari leader has spoken to the US president, and he has said that the ongoing escalation could have, quote, dangerous repercussions for the world, pushing the message that it is important to try and intensify diplomacy. This is a message we've been hearing from the Gulf nations as well. Certainly publicly, it doesn't appear to be a message that the US is ready to hear. It may be a different message that Gulf nations are getting behind the scenes. Linda?
All right, Paula Hancock's for us in Dubai. Stay safe and thanks very much. CNN is the first US network to start reporting from the ground inside Iran since the conflict began. We're operating there with only government permission. Our senior international correspondent Fred Blackton and producer Claudia Otto filed this report a short time ago on the black rain that's falling in the capital following airstrikes and fires at Iran's fuel storage areas.
This is what Tehran is waking up to this morning. The sky above the city is covered in very thick black clouds. You can see that everywhere. That's the west of the city over there, and this is the north of the city. Normally, if you look to that direction, you could actually see the Alborz Mountains, but now all of that is also covered in clouds. That comes after major airstrikes in the south and the west of the city happened last night, where oil installations were hit, oil storage facilities. Apparently also a refinery might have been hit as well. And now you can see this morning that the sky is still very dark. We saw thick black plumes of smoke in the sky yesterday. There were massive fires in the south of the city. But I want to show you something else because it's also raining. But you can see that the rain water is actually black, also saturated, it appears, with oil. And then if we look over there, you can see that the water that's running down here also is black. So that's what's coming down this morning, this sort of oil-filled rain that we have right now on the Iranian capital after those strikes took place.
Israel and the US are ramping up pressure on Tehran as the war enters its second week. Israel's military says a new wave of strikes is now underway, targeting military sites across Iran. We're learning that Israel's Air Force hit a number of Iran's F-14 fighter jets at the Isfahan airport. A source telling CNN that Israel is also hitting energy resources in the country. Video shows a massive fire burning near a fuel storage facility in Tehran. We've also seen flames and smoke rising from an oil refinery in the capital. US President Trump is threatening to escalate the attacks, and he's not ruling out the possibility of US boots on the ground.
What are the circumstances where you'd send in ground troops? How are you thinking about that?
I don't even want to talk about it now. I don't think it's an appropriate question. You know, I'm not going to answer it. Could there be? Possibly, for very good reason. Have to be very good reason. And I would say if we ever did that, they would be so decimated that they wouldn't be able to fight at the ground level.
I want to go to Oren Lieberman, who joins us from Tel Aviv. Oren, Israel says it will keep hitting Iran with all its might, and it has launched another broad-scale round of strikes inside Iran. What can you tell us about the targets in this latest wave?
Among the target list that Israel is now striking are oil refineries and fuel storage facilities, according to the Israeli military. As an Israeli source tells us, this is part of what Israel's military chief, Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir, had hinted to a few days ago. The next phase of Israeli operations against Iran, Israeli strikes on Iran, and this, of course, being done in conjunction with the United States. It seems that over the course of the first week and a couple days of the war here, Israel went after the Iranian regime itself and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, its intelligence arm, its military arm, even its military university, as well as its military assets, to strike at the centers of power. Now, as we watch the second phase here, or rather the next phase, unfold, it seems Israel is going after the economic and financial arms of the Iranian regime. And that's why likely we're seeing strikes against the refineries and the fuel storage facilities that have left the skies over Tehran and Iran aflame with smoke pouring into the sky from the fires and the explosions at these refineries. So this, on day 9 here, seems like what we're seeing play out as Israel and the United States go after more parts of the Iranian regime and what helps to support it, as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made clear last night when he gave a pre-recorded statement that the goal here is to destabilize the regime. He even tried to speak to the Iranian people, saying, "Your time to rise up is coming," and I'm paraphrasing there, but that also hints at another problem here. Where is this going? And if the goal is regime change, and I think that's quite clear by this point, what is the plan to change the regime? So far, all we've heard from Israel is the expectation that at some point the Iranian people will finish the job that Israel and the U.S. have started of overthrowing the regime, but it's unclear how that's expected to play out. Meanwhile, Iran has at least retained some capability to keep striking back and firing back. At about 7:30 this morning, there was a siren warning of incoming missile fire, and we have seen that on a fairly regular basis throughout the first 9 days of the war, even as Israel and the U.S. have gone after ballistic missile arrays and launchers. Linda.
And of course, Oren, you know, despite the fact that 6 American military members have already been killed in this week-old war, President Trump says the U.S. is prepared to escalate. He says there's no shortage of munitions. What can you tell us about Israel's capability and its readiness for a prolonged conflict?
Israel's military has been rearming and re-equipping. They've had cargo flights coming in, likely with munitions. It's really all that would enter the country at this point, especially as the U.S. has been part of the campaign since the very beginning. So in terms of offensive capabilities, it seems, and we're watching this play out in real time over Iran and the capital of Tehran, that Israel has plenty left in the tank, so to speak, and is able to keep on striking the targets that it planned on striking. And keep in mind that Israel had months to prepare for this campaign. On the defensive side, and this is mostly missile interceptors, Israel's been able to intercept the vast majority of missiles that Iran has fired. We have also seen video from northern Israel in the exchanges of fire with Hezbollah, likely Iron Dome, the short-range Israeli interceptor, taking out Hezbollah drones and potentially missiles there as well. So at least from what we're able to see here, Israel has the capabilities it needs to keep on continuing in this fight, with some Israeli officials saying this could be weeks long and they are prepared and ready for it. I should note that actual stockpiles of missiles, actual stockpiles of interceptors, those are not anything the Israeli military will ever, frankly, talk about. But from what we can see, the fight very much is hot from Israel's perspective, and they have the weapons they need to keep fighting.
All right, Oren Lieberman for us in Tel Aviv.